Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the fan favourite first look on this channel. Welcome back to the Premier League predictions video for now match week 23. The midweek fixtures have come and gone, and what fixtures we had there. There were some great games, a lot to talk about. I can't wait to talk about it next week on the podcast. But out of all of that, out of all the excitement, we're back once again for another predictions video, another Premier League weekend of football. Absolutely can't wait. We had a few weekends away with FA Cup and then split match weeks, but we're finally back for a proper all 10 games, all 20 teams playing on the weekends. Absolutely cannot wait for that. A few big games at the top, a few for around that European positions, and many, many more. Also relegation type battles as well. So another superb Premier League action coming up this weekend. In terms of our prediction points, we came into last match week midweek with 133 points, added 6 more to that to make our total score for the season 139. If you're wondering how the prediction points work on this channel, if you're new to the prediction videos, firstly, welcome to the channel. We get 1 point for the correct result, 3 points for the correct scoreline, and obviously 0 for neither. Not doing too bad after 22 match weeks, 139. We will take that. But once again, I said in the last episode, I want a little bit more than just a 6. I wanted maybe a 10 or an 8-pointer like we got earlier in the season. With that all being said, guys, if you enjoyed the video, please like, comment, subscribe, all those good things to the Player Zone channel for more football-based content, prediction videos, Premier League, global football stuff. It's all going to live here in the channel. And appreciate all the support in recent weeks. It has been much appreciated. Now, with that all being said, let's get straight into the predictions. The first game of the weekend sees Everton host Tottenham in what's going to be a really, really interesting game. Everton really struggling at the moment. Last time out, a 0-0 draw to Fulham where they'll be kicking themselves. They couldn't take one of those chances to nick a big 3 points away from home. But in recent weeks, they've really struggled. Only 2 points in their last 5 Premier League games, and knocked out of the FA Cup as well. So looking to try and refine some of that form they had about 1 or 2 months ago where all things were flying. I think the keys for me is behind Dwight McNeil and Jack Harrison. When those two are functioning really well on the flanks and putting in great balls in the box for Dominic Calvert-Lewin to attack. And when you got Decore in the form he was at the start of the season, all things look good for Everton. But in recent weeks, they haven't quite had that attacking, cutting edge in the final third or ability to break off winning possession well or build up play as quite nice as they had in recent weeks. And as such, it's been all in their defence. And it's good for times, but you can't just expect your team to defend for 90 minutes. They're only human after all, so they're going to concede. So that's what's really hurt them in recent weeks. And they come against a Tottenham side who you can't just defend against these guys. You have to try and counter-attack them, counter-press them, catch them off guard, because otherwise they'll put you to the sword. Put 3 past Brentford last time out. It was seen close at time, but it always felt like Tottenham were in charge in that game, a 3-2 win. Despite Morpay hitting the dart celebration, Richarlison had the last laugh there. He's in great form at the moment. Brennan Johnson's in the goals as well. He's in good form. And when you've got now your doggy, you've got Van der Ven, you've got Romero back there at the back line. There's no more 4 left backs playing in the back 4. You expect them to get better defensively. They haven't been a bit shaky since they've come back from injury, these sort of players. Once you get that midfield depth back, James Maddison returning also, Heung-min Son will be coming around the corner as well. I only see up from Tottenham here. I think they've weathered the worst of the injury storm, the suspension storm, and they're going to just kick on from here. And in this game here, I expect them to really flex their muscles, especially defensively as well. A better defensive performance, some great attacking football. I think Everton are just toothless in this game. I've got Tottenham winning this game 3-0, and I'll be surprised if it goes any other way than that. Our next game takes us down to the south coast. It is Brighton who host Crystal Palace in what now turns out to be a very interesting game. Brighton obviously, I don't know what word to put it. It was just pathetic performance versus Luton. Caught off guard. 2 goals conceded in the first 3 minutes, for God's sake. And they went down 4-0 there. Really, really disappointing. Not at the races. Not quite the Brighton we expect. I expect a bounce-back performance in this game. You'd almost assure so, because Brighton don't put those sort of types of performances out on the park very often. I can only imagine maybe 2 or 3 times in the last 12 to 15 months they've put up that sort of poor performance. Just really, really lackadaisical, really slow, not at it. And I think this sort of 3-5 back system they went with in the last game has to be scrapped. I want to see Baleba back in the lineup. Even Hinshelwood, James Milner wasn't working for me. Baleba adds a bit more youthfulness and aggression in that sort of midfielder forward areas. Get him involved as well, and hopefully things will turn around. Obviously, they're missing Matoma at the moment, which is a big miss, but you'd expect this side to work it out, especially under the tutelage there of Roberto De Zerbi, who's a great manager. It just felt like that game, he had no control of that team, and they just went out there and got battered around. In games prior to that, they've put teams to the sword in terms of scoring a lot of goals, being aggressive, being in the front foot and attacking. And maybe that's the way forward for this Brighton team, at least this season, with a lack of real identity at the back in recent weeks. They're going to score goals, but they might shit them as well. They come up against a Palace side who were very impressive last time out versus Sheffield United. Might not look great on the scoreline, a 3-2 result, but Eberechi Eze and also Michael Elise, two that I've had a really soft spot for. I love these two. They connected really, really well in the week, midweek for that 3-2 win. Both being involved in all three of the goals. It feels like those two are the keys to this side. When they stay fit, they stay in the park. Crystal Palace wins games of football. Elise might have picked up a knock, so we don't know if he's going to be available. But if Eze and Elise are both there, and AU's fit now and available from the international break, this side's going to be a very hard team to beat. They'll get on the front foot. They're trying to counter-attack, counter-press this Brighton side, and might catch them off guard like Luton did as well. Despite this all being said, I think Brighton have to bounce back, and they'll get a big result here. If they win this game 3-1. Our next game sees Burnley host Fulham. Burnley obviously did quite well in midweek versus Manchester City, only to lose that game 3-1. Never really in the game, but never out of it. And that's what's good to see for Burnley. They've changed their sort of mantra and format. They're not going to be all this possession and razzle-dazzle type of football. They're going to spend less time on the ball and more time trying to counter-attack teams, winning the ball back and using their really good ball-playing ability to try and break teams apart on a counter-attack or winning the ball higher up at the pitch there. I like this 4-4-2 formation. It can go narrow at times and can pack that midfield area, but it also can cover the flanks if one of the set of forwards want to drop into a somewhat number 10, number 8 role and allow one of the midfielders to overload the wide areas. That's the key for me for Burnley. If they can, keep the game nice and tight, be compact defensively, and use that ability to catch teams in the break with Zeki Amdouni up top and Lyle Foster, they're going to always have a chance, especially against this Fulham side that last time out versus Everton were just not clinical enough. It created a lot of opportunities, they just couldn't score. Similar story against Liverpool in the Cup, and similar in the FA Cup as well. They create some good chances, they just need someone to finish that off. Emmanuel Breuer now signing on loan, maybe that's the option for them down the middle. Or I mostly expect Raul Jimenez to continue up there, but be more clinical in front of goal. Whether it's Willian, Andres Pereira, Breuer, Jimenez, take the chances, get some early goals, and he can knock this game out of the park. I think Fulham scrape this one. It's going to be nice, nitty, gritty, and tight. I've got Fulham win this game 2-1, and Burnley keeping it nice and tight in this one. Our next game is up north. It is Newcastle hosting Luton Town. Newcastle really refinding their mojo once again. Very solid at the back and very impressive win away to Villa. The first team to go away there and win in just around a year, I believe. So go to show the importance of that result there. That is how team with last year was built on the back of defense. It was solidity at the back and being clinical in front of goal. And that's what they did in that last game. It was the usual back four, the usual customers, Dan Burn, Trippier, Fabian Schär, Botman. The crew we're used to. The Bradford and goal has been very good recently as well. And then that midfield with Longstaff in there, alongside Bruno Guimaraes and then also Lewis Miley, seems to have found their identity. They seem to work really, really well together, really balanced midfield and dynamic in many regards as well. I mean, you got Isaac at times up front, and when you got Gordon, Jacob Murphy played in the last game, you're going to score some goals because these guys are quick, they get in behind, they get the job done in front of goal. And Newcastle at home, we know how good they can be. The form book, I think you should put it to the side with Newcastle. It looks like they've refound that form and refound their mojo. So I think in this game, they should get the job done. Obviously, you have to touch on Luton, though. They were very, very impressive last time out. The 4-0 win over Brighton. What they did well, though, is they've advanced their identity. It's no longer just sitting in and absorbing pressure. It's at times when you pick the right moments, counter-pressing, high up the pitch, and trying to catch teams out in possession. That's what they did against Brighton. They can definitely do it here against Newcastle. We know in recent months or so, they've been quite shaky at the back, whether it be on the ball or passing around the back. So catch them with a counter press, get them hard at the pitch and try and do the same sort of things. We've seen Elijah Adebayo be an absolute superstar this season. His hat-trick in the last time out. He'll have all the confidence going his direction. Ross Barkley, for me, has been one of the signings of the season. And at the back as well, they've really found his identity and being really nice and solid at the back. So I can't really complain with Luton at the moment. I'm sure they'll give Newcastle a game, but the form Newcastle's on, being at home, I'm backing them here 3-1. Again, Luton will try. I'm giving them a goal. They're going to make it difficult, but Newcastle at the moment, just too good. The next game is Sheffield United at home hosting Aston Villa. Sheffield United have been better in these recent weeks. They got a result versus West Ham. They kept it tight at times versus Crystal Palace as well. I think the simple thing and the key thing here is just to keep it interesting. Don't let the goal happen for the opposition team really early in the game. Keep it tight, keep it nitty-gritty, and take the game as late as possible, because as you saw against West Ham, strange things happen in the Premier League. As long as you're in games, you can impact it. And I think that's the biggest thing right now for Sheffield United. Stay in games, make it hard for opposition teams, especially as Aston Villa side, who have been a bit out of form as of recently. Obviously lost that great home record they have. And being away is not the easiest thing for them at times. They can drop a few points here and there. They've obviously had the late escape versus Burnley. They followed up by a 0-0 versus Everton, and then the loss versus Newcastle, the first time obviously losing at home in almost nearly a year. So things are starting to slow down a bit at Villa. They're vulnerable here. Probably not vulnerable enough for Sheffield United to win, but there's always a chance there. I've got Villa winning this game 3-0, getting their mojo back and getting in the right direction in terms of the table. The next game takes us back down south is Bournemouth, who host Nottingham Forest. Another really interesting affair in the fact that Bournemouth are playing some really, really great football at the moment. Dominic Solanke benefiting off this. Another goal in the last time out versus West Ham. They unfortunately drew 1-1, but in my eyes played a bit of football and were looking the more likely throughout the first sort of 60 to 70 minutes. Obviously, the James Ward-Prowse spot kick levelled it all up, and they weren't able to get over the line in the end. But another impressive result to go away to a team like West Ham. That's progression to go and take a point there and play the way they played, especially at home though. Bournemouth are very, very hard to stop. Andre Ariola's got his side playing some very good football, and especially want to touch on. I touch a lot on the forwards and the midfielders, but I really want to touch on the back line. The likes of Zabani and Senesi have really been a cornerstone of a very solid back four that are solid in possession as well, but also don't concede many chances and many goals. And it's been a foundation which the team's built off to be so good on the ball and going forward, and that leads to the goals and the great attacking output we've seen from Bournemouth this season. But I just feel like I have to touch on this defence. Whether it be Max Aarons filling in there, whether it be other players as well. You've got all these different quality at the back for Bournemouth, and it's really stood out for me this season. Players living up to the standard, really. Adam Smith in there as well. So superb plays for Bournemouth, who are playing out of their skin at the moment. Playing against Nottingham Forest side, who feel like haven't quite nutted down their identity yet under Nuno Espirito Santo. Made some few changes to the side. At times they've looked more aggressive, at times looked more, just sitting in and a bit more negative. But in a game like this, Bournemouth are going to take it to you, so you have to take it back to them. Try and get them on their counter-attack if they play a bit of a higher line. Catch them in possession on the ball, because that's the best chance Forest have to winning this game. Bournemouth are very, very good at home. They've been one of the better sort of home teams across the last sort of 2 to 3 months. So it's going to be hard to beat them there. It's going to be a tight old game. It's never really an easy game to watch when Forest play at the moment. I'm going to back in Bournemouth with a 2-1 win. I think it's going to be nice and tight, but Bournemouth's quality and the better football they play will get them over the line in this one. The next game sees us back in London. It's Chelsea hosting Wolves. And it's going to be another interesting game, the fact that two teams on sort of contrasting forms. Chelsea, pathetic last time out, a 4-1 loss to Liverpool. It made me question that midfield. Gallagher played all right, but Caicedo and Enzo Fernandez, once again, question marks over these players and their consistency. They can put up some really great performances, but also some absolute stinkers in there as well. And that's been the problem for me with Chelsea this season. It's one good game, one poor game, and you never quite know what you're going to get next, because they didn't even come out to play against Liverpool. I'd respect if they went out there, tried to play their style of football and lost to Liverpool. But they were just not at the race at all. Liverpool were all over them in the first half, and it could have been really, really bad in the first half. Very poor performance, but they've got a home record as of recent, which they'll try and protect. 3 wins on the bounce at home, and played some really good football in recent weeks. And over the last month, I've been very impressed with Chelsea. So looking to bounce back from their last performance and could take it here to Wolves, who are a team that have also been really, really good as of recently. Normally better at home, but they can travel as well. Gary O'Neill's system always finds a way. And when they're better in midfield areas and more dense and consistent and tougher in midfield, that's when they look at their best. Against Manchester United, a very poor first half. They could have been also down 5-0. They weathered that storm in the second half, were magnificent at times, especially after the hour mark. creating chances, creating opportunities, and making it 3-all deep into stoppage time. Wasn't for that great Manu goal, it could have been taking a very handy point against a big team like Manchester United. So they're in and around that mid-table position. They're looking to propel themselves up into the top half. And it's a big opportunity here away to Chelsea to go and do that. Teams have gone and taken points off Chelsea this year and last year as well away from home. So it's definitely not out of the realms of a possibility here. As such, I'm going to go with a 1-1 draw. I think Chelsea will try their best, but Wolves will be very tough to break down and we'll definitely get a massive result in this one here. So I'm going for a 1-1 draw. Our next game takes us back up to Manchester. It is Manchester United hosting West Ham in another classic in terms of European positioning. Obviously, United looking back to somewhat of their best of last season with Varane, Casemiro, Luke Shaw, Lisandro Martinez in there, Kobe Manu, the standout obviously, and Marcus Rashford in the goals as well. It looked like the Manchester United of old of last season, which is challenging for the domestic double. That's what it looked like, a really strong side. Obviously, dodgy penalty in there, and then obviously the late equaliser thought it ruined the night, ruined the performance, but Kobe Manu comes to the rescue, gets that clutch 99th minute goal to win the game for United, and something they really deserved and something the team really needed to bounce back, to get them back on the winning sheet and get in some good form. And another opportunity here to carry that good form over to this game versus West Ham, who beat them just under a month ago at the London Stadium, where Manchester United were just not at the races, slow on the ball, poor chance creation, and lacked a real sense of identity. In this game here, I think it's been total roles reversed. I think West Ham will really be parked up on their own area. They'll be in their own half, whilst Manchester United will play with a bit more progressive movement, play a bit more on the ball, especially with that back two there. If Martinez is fit, I saw him with a bit of ice in his foot, but if he's fit to play this game alongside Varane and Casemiro, with Manu and Fernandes, you expect a lot of chance creation for this side, a lot of front-footed play, like I saw against Wolves in the first half, and as such, I expect a lot of goals this one here. I still don't trust Onana, especially with the high line that United is trying to play. As such, I think I can see United conceding a few goals, but going on and winning this game. I've got United winning the game at 3-2. Once again, West Ham always a threat in the counter-attack and always a threat against Manchester United. Our next game is arguably the biggest of the weekend. It is a true title clash. It is Arsenal versus Liverpool at the Emirates. Obviously, Arsenal last time out were very impressive versus Nottingham Forest. Another very good performance. Nottingham Forest made it half of them the first half, but they fought through and they got the job done 2-1 against those guys there. And as of recent games, they've put together some better performances, different type performances, but getting the wins. And that's what matters for Arsenal at the moment. After a little sort of dry patch there, a few weeks ago, looks like they've turned it around and going in the right direction. And it's behind improved performances from Martin Odegaard and also Bukayo Saka, who, despite his great numbers this season, have had his little dull and poor moments throughout the year. It looks like he's turned that corner and he's playing some really great football. Good to see Emile Smith-Rowe from the start as well for Arsenal. They've got the depth there, they've got the players, and they're playing a little better at the moment, which is good to see. But it's a whole different kettle of fish with Liverpool. Liverpool at the moment, top of the league for a reason, 5 points clear for a reason. The last time out, they battered Chelsea. And as much as Darwin Núñez hit the post or the crossbar for the most times in Premier League history, he's getting great chances. He's getting great positions for great chances. Diaz is back in their goals. You're looking at the second coming of Trent Alexander-Arnold and Conor Bradley. Gomez at left back's been ridiculous as well, with Van Dijk at the back there with Canut. It's just everywhere is looking very good at the moment for Liverpool. McAllister and Szoboszlai putting on a masterclass at midfield as well. Everything's functioning on a high level for Liverpool. They beat Arsenal in the Cup not too long ago at this same venue without Mo Salah as well. So I wouldn't put it past them to go and do it again. I back Liverpool a lot at the moment. I love their attacking style of football. The high energy on your own half sort of thing, bopping it around, passing it around teams, heaps of chances created. Jota, Diaz, Núñez, all these guys are looking in great form at the moment. And there's just going to be too much aggression, too much front-foot attacking football for Arsenal to handle. I know how good Saliba and Gabriel can be, but with the form that Liverpool are on at the moment and their attacking quality, I think it's a slam dunk in this one. You might be surprised me saying this. I'm going with a Liverpool 3-1 win and for them to do it quite convincingly in this one. That then leads us to our last game, which is back in London. It's Brentford hosting Manchester City. And Brentford, tough time last time out versus Tottenham, 3-2 loss. They were up multiple times. They were in the game at multiple moments. They just couldn't get over the line. Obviously, it's Tottenham. They score a lot of goals. They're very aggressive. They attack a lot. So it's hard to restrict them. But if you want to go and win or take points off these big teams, you can't be conceding 3 goals. And the identity there has to be refound. The midfield's looking much better. The return of form for Morpay, the return of Ivan Toney as well, gives them goals and opportunities up front on their counter-attack or where they're in possession. But they come against Manchester City, who won 3-1 last time out versus Burnley, without even lifting up a finger, it felt like. They weren't at their best. They were poor at times. Haaland airballing his shots and De Bruyne not having his superstar type performances, and yet they still coasted the game. They're truly in title charge mode at the moment. They're not going to blink. They're going to keep their head down and keep pushing up against Liverpool and trying to overtake them as soon as possible. City this time of the year are just too hard to stop, it feels like. As such, despite all Brentford can do, despite Brentford's home form in the past and then beating Man City there last season, I'm going to see one win in this game here, and that is Brentford, and that is Man City, sorry. I've got City winning this game, 3-0, doing it quite easily. Haaland back in the goals, I expect. Well, that, ladies and gentlemen, brings this, match week predictions to an end for the Premier League. Match week 23. I've gone through all the games here. There's some few massive games. Arsenal, Liverpool, Manchester United, West Ham. You got to find out how Crystal Palace go against Brighton, looking to bounce back as well. And do Tottenham put Everton to the sword? So many different questions, so many great games. Loving that the Premier League's back on the weekend. I've missed it for some time now. All 10 games, a lot of football to feast on, and I hope you guys enjoyed at home. Hope you guys also enjoyed this video as well. Make sure, if you did, to please like, comment, subscribe. Leave your thoughts in the comment section down below. Make sure to enjoy the weekend's football action. Hope you have a great weekend. Hope you have a great rest of your day. Until next time, guys, I'll see you guys later. Peace.